Wait, remember the Secret Saturdays? It was a short-lived animated series on Cartoon Network about a family of scientists chasing mystical relics and mythological creatures and cryptids all across the world, all while paying homage to classic Hanna-Barbera animated adventure cartoons like Johnny Quest and Shazam. No, that's Shazam. I said Shazam. No, that's Kazam. That movie doesn't even exist! But seriously, The Secret Saturdays may just be an underrated gem on the good old CN. It may not have had longevity, but it did have its own unique vibe, blending the older style of storytelling and episode structure with newer animation techniques, allowing for something totally different, having fresh takes on classic situations. So in a classic Jordan Fringe way, we're going on our own adventure to take a look at The Secret Saturdays.
I'm sorry, I get in the zone.
Now a word from our sponsor.
I want to take a moment to thank today's video sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creatives, where millions come together to have the next step in their creative journey. Skillshare is a service that I use to help me hone some of my crafts for how I plan out and write my videos, to even personal aspects of my life, like scheduling my time better. Skillshare offers thousands of inspiring classes for creatives and curious people, on topics including illustration, design, photography, video, freelancing, and that's only scratching the surface. I just took a class by Patrick Doug, all about productivity and time management strategies for goal setting and eliminating distractions. It was very enlightening and has helped me with my personal workflow. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, meaning there are no ads and they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. So whether you're a dabbler or a pro, a hobbyist or a master, you're creative. Skillshare is actually offering the first 1,000 of my subscribers who use the link in my description a free 1-month trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. Thanks so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video.
Oh yeah, still got it!
You know, aside from the name of The Secret Saturdays, it's no secret that Saturday mornings were legendary. When I was a kid, they were the most important days that you'd wake up early, get your favorite cereal, and watch your favorite cartoons. It was literally unbeatable. The first thing that captured my attention with the show was that exact Saturday morning vibe. I mean, it wears its influences on its sleeves. It's clear as day. There's the classic, sometimes campy, sometimes wholesome dynamic to the show that from the jump makes it feel welcoming. This family of scientists connection is very well done, and a nice change of pace from many other drama-filled action cartoons around the same time it came out. On the surface, it's a cartoon, but it's a cartoon that doesn't talk down to its audience. It never really straddles a line of too harmless or too dark. It knows exactly the tone it wanted to go for and it stuck with it. But just who is the Saturday scientist family made up of? First, there's Zach, voiced by Sam Lerner, who is the son of the family as well as our main character. He loves the thrill of adventure and can affect cryptids with his initially mysterious powers. Those powers turn out to have come from him being the reincarnation of a Sumerian cryptid and deity named Kerr. Doc Saturday, voiced by Phil Morris, is a super genius scientist that specializes in gadgets and is easily one of the coolest fictional scientist dads, if that's even a category, as well as the de facto leader of the team. Drew Saturday, voiced by Nicole Sullivan, is the linguistic, culturally informed, and combat-eager mother. She's got a hot-blooded personality to contrast her husband's cool demeanor, and she's a fan favorite. She's my favorite. She's Ben Tennyson's favorite. Wait, we'll get onto that later on, just relax. With the relationship dynamic Doc and Drew have, it would have been cool to see a show or something based on their adventures alone, and sorry Zach, it's really nothing personal. Zach does have an adopted brother, except he's a cryptid who is based on the real Fiskerton Phantom. Aw, he just wanted to say hello. Described as a gorilla cat, he simply goes by Fiskerton. Oh, yeah, he has another adopted brother, well, technically not a cryptid, his name is Komodo. He's a Komodo dragon, but he's genetically altered. Then there's Zon, the adopted sister to Zack and a fairly accurate Ornithochirus, which is a pterosaur, and as a big dinosaur fan, Zon's the coolest, and I don't care what you gotta say about it. The formula the show mixes together creates a show that follows this family who are the members of the Secret Scientists. Yes, they're not so secret if I know about them. They are a global organization who study and keep safe the deemed dangerous sciences out there not known by the general masses. The Saturdays specifically are tasked with protecting and learning all about the cryptids that hide amongst us as they travel the world in their flying airbase. But what's a Saturday morning cartoon without its campy fun villain, right? V.V. Argost, voiced by Corey Burton, this fella exudes theatrics and elevates his intelligence with style and finesse. Looking at him, yeah, my first thoughts were totally, who is this Tales from the Crypt looking dude? Funny enough, he is a TV host, so that checks out. This in-show show is V.V. Argost's Weird World. Outside of that, he's initially after the pieces of the Curse Stone, a Sumerian artifact that can lead to a very dangerous and powerful cryptid. I wonder who that could be. Overall, he's a fun antagonist with a great character design. There's also this other bounty hunter, Doyle Blackwell, who is working as the apprentice for another villain, Leonidas Van Rock, and in which we find out Doyle is the long-lost brother of Drew. Voiced by Will Friedle, we start off knowing him as this villain character originally, but hey, family is a powerful thing, and he ends up working with the Saturdays, and the team dynamic becomes even tighter. Plus, his riffs with Doc are pretty entertaining when they happen. But as a show, it has this incredibly fun extra level of style, and with all these designs and looks, it feels bold and ripped right out of the pages of a comic book. And I'm a sucker for unique, thickly coated styles. This show is drenched in it. I also really love that the show is based off a lot of items and relics on real mythologies. The episode Black Monday leans entirely on Aztec mythology. The smoke mirror of Tazkit-Lapoca brings evil doppelgangers of the Saturday family who come from a literal dark world. Well, it's antimatter, but we'll save that for later. Or even take a look at Drew's Tibetan fire sword. This level of thought made the show not only a fun ride, but can be a jumping pad into learning about some awesome real-world lore and/or mythology. Something that fascinates me greatly, personally, with Egyptian mythology, which surprisingly plays a big role in the creation process of this show, based on the creator's previous works. So I think this is the perfect segue to discuss how the Secret Saturdays came to be.
We'll talk about it later.
The show was created by Canadian cartoonist Jay Stevens. You may have seen his other work before with Tuttenstein, something I would love to look at covering in the future, and you may recognize his other animated shorts for Jetcat during the show Kablam on Nickelodeon. He's also known for his work on many comic book projects, Jetcat Clubhouse, Sin, and Atomic City Tales, also working on licensed properties like Alien, Teen Titans, and Star Wars, just to name a few. And currently, Jay is working on his new project, Dwellings, and has a whole YouTube channel that digs into what it is, his inspirations for it, and more. It's legit some very well edited and put together content, so if you're a big fan of the Secret Saturdays, I suggest looking into Jay's other and newer work as well. Stevens pitched the idea of the show, which originally was going by the name Cryptids, which, sure, it's fitting, but the concept as well was different from the final product, following some experienced and knowledgeable cryptozoologists that were once cryptids themselves. The three cryptids used to be Megamouth, Octopi, and Komodo. They also had a human with them on these adventures around the world named Francis, with the goal of preserving the secrets and mysteries of these interesting creatures before they would either be attacked or revealed to the world by humans and/or the big baddie Monsieur Dodo. Unfortunately, this idea wasn't landing well with the different networks it was being presented to, but being persistent and believing in the vision as well as willing to morph these ideas a bit into what would become the Secret Saturdays, Cartoon Network picked up the show, and at the time they wanted more action cartoons thanks to the success of the Ben 10 property on the network. One of those picked up was Generator Rex, which would come in 2010 from the actual Ben 10 creators, but the Secret Saturdays would be set to release in 2008. Originally, the name went from Cryptids to The Secret Adventures of Zack Saturday, which clearly was changed one more time into what we know it as now. Specifically influenced by Hanna-Barbera and their line of action cartoons, the way the show looks comes from the inspiration of Alex Toth, an American cartoonist whose work spans from the 1940s to the 80s, with such work as Fantastic Four, C-Lab 2020, Space Ghost, and more, with many of them becoming more adult-themed spin-offs that you've definitely seen in the middle of the night on Adult Swim. Along with this idea, they need the right sound to create the perfect vibe of the show, leading them to bringing in Michael Tavera, someone we've mentioned here many a times on the channel, as his work has touched so many classic cartoons we know and love today. Before the show would premiere, Cartoon Network wanted to properly roll out an ad campaign to capture people's attention. In July 2008, commercials would cryptically advertise as cryptidsarereal.com, with each commercial featuring Zahn, Fiskerton, or Komodo. The mystery would continue, with the website itself hiding documents that would slowly reveal parts that were blacked out, discussing different cryptids as well as our main cast of characters. A very fun way to promote the show and to farm genuine engagement so that the user feels a connection in working to uncover all the secrets. Blueprints, anagrams, and other mysteries made this website a fun game of figuring out just what this show was, a preview of what's to come, and to get the audience interested in cryptids. Taking it a step further, during San Diego Comic-Con in 2008, booklets that were titled Weird World were handed out, and like I mentioned earlier, that's the fake show that Argost hosts within the Secret Saturdays, with the booklet posting on the back the Cryptids Are Real website. Full-on Weird World commercials were aired, which felt like the mystery was moving forward and giving out new clues, in turn building more and more hype. And the Secret Saturdays would officially premiere on Cartoon Network October 3rd, 2008, for a total of 2 seasons ending on January 30th, 2010, with a total of 36 episodes. Also, it was the first Cartoon Network original series to be broadcast in high definition. Season 1 is pretty focused on the Kerr Stone and the powers of the Kerr, with a race between the Saturdays and Argos to reach Antarctica first, which is said to be the final resting place of Kerr. Of course, along this journey in Season 1, we deal with a bunch of cryptid adventures, with a major point that will be brought back for in the second season, dealing with an ancient mirror that holds in it the dimension purely made of antimatter. This leads to learning of the evil versions of the Saturdays, in which they are called the Mondays. And would you assume that the opposite of Monday is Saturday? I mean, Saturdays are pretty great, don't get me wrong. And Mondays, well, they do suck, but I've always viewed Friday as more as the opposite of Monday. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Moving on. I quickly want to bring up another character though, Abby Gray. She shows up to help out on a mission, but then turns around and betrays them in the next episode. But what's more interesting about her character is her relationship to the family. Essentially, she was Zach's babysitter in the comics, so there was a little extra layer of trust that they had with this character. Abby is just an interesting small side character that pops in here and there. But the end of Season 1 leads to the revelations that the whole time, Zach is actually Kerr. Kind of. Back when the Kerr Stone was originally broken apart, the soul of Kerr attached itself to the unborn Zach. This is why Zach can do the whole cryptid controlling thing, which I must interject real quick here, that this sound that emits when he uses the claw may be in the top 10 of worst sound effects ever. This is not an attack on the show, let's all be clear about that, but oh my, who approved this sound?
Oh my goodness! Squidward!
Season 2 gets pretty interesting with Zach, as Argos pleads a case to help him teach Zach how to use his powers, but of course, not for the right reasons. Also, he's revealed as a cryptid himself, being the Yeti who was overall responsible for the death of Drew and Doyle's parents long ago. And that mirror from the first season is back to bring forth Zach Monday again so he can absorb his powers to match what Zach Saturday has. That was a tougher sentence to say than I thought it would be. Also, the secret scientists turn on the whole Saturday family themselves and want to capture Zach so he doesn't become a threat to the whole planet. And Van Rock is also no longer a bad dude and works alongside Doyle. But for how long? But the whole planet becomes the battleground for a global war, with Zach taking on Argos in a showdown using their individual Kerr abilities. Zach is too much for Argos to handle though, and he is now forced to retreat from that battle. Oh, after this, remember I just said not for long for good old Van Rock here? Well, big sad. Argos then captures Zach in an attempt to drain his powers to have an unmatched Kerr power mixed with both Zach Mondays and Zach Saturdays. But I guess Argos here really isn't a scientist, as combining matter and antimatter together results in him exploding and destroying the Kerr's powers once and for all. So I guess Zach is no longer a threat then that the secret scientists need to worry about, huh?
Wait. What?
The show itself is really good. From the throwback vibe to the characters' journeys, it really is quite a fun ride. But there is a clear issue that is present in the second season compared to the first season, with that being how Season 2 felt very rushed to get to the finish line. Season 1 had 26 of the 36 episodes to develop the story of learning that Zach is Kerr reincarnated. We get time to learn about all the characters and see how the story develops, and Season 2, however, was less than half of the runtime with only 10 episodes. That start off with a 6-month time gap. allowing so much stuff to happen off screen rather than on. I guess the easiest way to put it is that season 2 expands so much with little being fleshed out. The building mysteries in the first season bring a nice pace of being a part of the grander narrative, but season 2 feels more spoon-fed, leaving out the room for you to go along with the journey and rather just run through it. But can the show itself be blamed for doing this? Well, not really. The story isn't bad, it just felt rushed, which is due to how Cartoon Network handled the show mixed with the lower ratings it was having. It was moved in schedule, put on hiatus as it was trying to build its audience, which resulted in less viewership and people not being able to catch the show when new episodes would premiere. At the same time, the toy line, the real moneymaker, was starting to pop out and make a presence, but if there was no show for people to connect to or even know about, why would someone buy the toys? So whatever factor above led to the 10-episode season 2, at least we got a wrapped up narrative that gave some closure to the show, a rarity in cases like this. Speaking of the extras outside of the show, Mattel was making the toy line of action figures, playsets, and more for the Secret Saturdays. Now, the sales of these, like we mentioned, weren't super great, especially not for the hopes that Cartoon Network had. But there was even a little bit of controversy with the toys. Well, one in particular. Remember that fire sword I mentioned way earlier in this video? Well, they made a toy of it that came with lights and sounds, but the toy was deemed too loud, reaching a decibel level of 121. Well, at least they didn't make the claw with that awful sound. Oh my god, no! Probably the coolest thing they released based on the show was the Secret Saturdays official cryptid field guide encyclopedia, which will give you information on all the cryptids in the show, what they can do, where they would live, and more. Oh, sick, free poster. There, of course, were other books released. Along with every other Cartoon Network property, the Secret Saturdays was featured in the DC Comics published Cartoon Network action-packed comic book regularly. As far as video games, the standard fare of Cartoon Network Flash games were around, like Code of the Cryptids, Cryptid Lab, and Hunt for the Curstone. We also saw Secret Saturday representation in TKO with Battler skins, as well as a character in Cartoon Network's Fusion Fall. Also, developed by High Voltage Software and First Playable Productions, the Secret Saturdays Beast of the Fifth Sun, a full-fledged video game, would release on the Nintendo DS and Wii, as well as the PlayStation 2 and PSP on October 20th, 2009. As far as any other media appearances of the Secret Saturday, we of course saw them in the OKKO Let's Be Heroes crossover Nexus event briefly, but more significantly, on October 5th, 2013, we got a special episode of Ben 10 Omniverse, titled TGIS, or Thank God It's Saturday, wherein which we get to see the Saturdays return, albeit with a lot of changes, from their complete designs being redone, as well as none of the voice actors returned, except for Argos. While it was great to see these characters again, it certainly had a different feel, but Ben does have a crush on Drew Saturday, and I completely understand. The show also only ever received 2 DVD releases containing 5 episodes each, and some cool bonus features that would show the animatics behind the scenes, with both DVDs releasing in 2009. At least you can purchase each episode of the show on Amazon in standard definition, though for some reason Amazon splits it into 3 seasons? Weird. Come on, HBO Max. Do something. At the end of the day, The Secret Saturdays was a fun show with a unique throwback vibe that unfortunately didn't get to reach its potential. The second season was a cool direction to take the show, having season 1 be about finding and then understanding the Cur and its power, and then in season 2 ultimately leading to its destruction. There's a nice bit of duality there. But with how short this show ran and the longer time moves away from it, I just hope that The Secret Saturdays doesn't become a secret in itself. But let me know your thoughts on The Secret Saturdays. Do you have fond memories of the show, or was it something you never checked out? And tell me in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll be back with another video soon, but until then, later.